Hello everyone, and this is my review for Monday Night Raw on July the 18th, 2016. And of course, this was the final episode not of Monday Night Raw, not only going into the Battleground pay-per-view, but also going into the live SmackDown and the WWE draft for the next night. And up with that, starting the show, they had Shane, Stephanie starting off the show yet again. As you kind of expected, at least they got this out of the way, and it led to other things throughout the night. To go along with it, they announced that they announced the general managers, which I'll get to in a second. They also announced that the Cruiserweight division would be exclusive to Raw. That was very interesting. That was just a very interesting announcement in general. It's like, okay, this title is going to be exclusive to Raw. Period. No draft, no nothing. You get it. Raw gets this. And everything. I like the aspect of the Cruiserweight division and everything to go along with that. But it's like, couldn't that have been like part of the draft in some way, shape, or form? But they decided just to give it to one program over the other. Interesting aspect to it. Like the aspect of the Cruiserweight division coming back. We'll see how everything goes along with it and how they're actually treated on the show from here on in. So we'll see how everything goes with that, especially with all the guys that you have down there at the Cruiserweight Classic to go along with everything. It should be an interesting dichotomy to see where everything ends up with that particular division. After that, you had Stephanie reveal her general manager, which ended up being Mick Foley. That's an interesting choice because it plays off the aspect of if you're going to play anything where maybe there's some tension down the road, like you have a guy who's generally a face and Stephanie who's generally a heel, and like how will those mesh together to make the show better in some way, shape, or form. So it'll be interesting to see how that ends out working out. You also had some interesting stuff after the show or not after the show, but some interesting stuff throughout the entire show with the general managers talking with superstars, talking with each other, talking with the opposing commissioner, and everything like that. And speaking of which, the general manager for SmackDown is yes, Daniel Bryan. As it was spoiled not too long ago, with everything, it ends up being Daniel Bryan, the general manager of SmackDown, and of course, a giant yes chance going along with everything. They kind of back and forth with a promo, and then, like I said, throughout the entire night, you had Daniel Bryan and Shane meeting up with people. Meeting up with superstars. You also have Mick Foley and Stephanie McMahon meeting up with people. You had segments where, Stephanie had backstage talk with Daniel, and you had a Shane and Mick Foley thing, like Shane being like concerned for Foley because of how Stephanie McMahon was and everything like that. So we'll see how everything works in the end, and we'll see where everything goes off of that to begin with here. And like I said, it was nice little segments throughout the night, kind of building tension going into the actual live SmackDown for the next night. Now, match-wise, first match they had for the night was Sami Zayn and Cesaro going up against Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. They had Sami Zayn and Cesaro go over in this one. This match was fine, but we've seen this before. We've seen this a good chunk of the time and everything in that sense. But like I said, good match again, but we've seen this in the past. And we'll see where everything goes in the future. Up next they had Darren Young going up against Alberto Del Rio. They had Darren Young win via a distraction from The Miz, where Miz was trying to distract Darren Young. It worked for a bit, but he stayed up on the apron and ends up distracting Alberto Del Rio. And Darren Young gets the roll for the victory. They're really making Darren Young kind of a fluky winner right now. And it's not necessarily making him look all that strong to go along with it, everything, but we'll see how the match with him and The Miz go. Obviously, they're trying to build him as like a guy who is winning matches in some way. going into this particular match. So, I mean, we'll see how everything goes off. I do like the dichotomy a little bit more on air with Darren Young and Bob Backlund. Those backstage vignettes were kind of getting a little bit bad, but this, like them live, is a little bit better. And we'll see how that continues to build throughout the time frame. Up next was the 12-man tag match. You had Enzo, Big Cass, John Cena, and the New Day going up against the Wyatts. And, oh, sorry, I'm spacing there for a second. Going up against the Wyatts and the Club, and AJ Styles. First of all, that promo beforehand, man, that took a while. It kept going and going and going. Like, there were good parts of it and everything. The one thing I ended up not liking, and I've been saying this a little more recently, the one thing I ended up not liking was the whole New Day portion of the promo. Like, you had the Compound segment the week before, and they're trying to say, like, New Day's not going to be the same or anything like that. What, lo and behold, what do? Come out and be completely the same. They came out there completely the same, joking, everything like that. You had Xavier Woods talking about how he is on Pokemon Go and everything like that, talking about the how you doing thing. It was the only part of the segment I really didn't like. It was like, because aren't they, like, they make mention, it's like, yes, we should be scared, but we're going to still be jokey and all this. We're not going to be too serious right now. It was the one thing I didn't like. The match itself was a good match. The 12-man tag was a good match. I also liked the aspect at the end of the match that it was a miscommunication from Cena and Enzo. You know, the factor of they've never teamed before. This was even mentioned in the promo. They've never teamed. They've never been this. And the Club is a team through and through. And it ends out working in the Club's favor. So I liked where they went storyline-wise with that actual match. It worked out in the end. And it came off pretty good. I liked the match. You had two promos throughout the night. And these two promos throughout the night were actually really, really good. You had, because there was the build to Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose title match. You had Seth Rollins kind of doing a remembrance of the Shield entrance where he would come through the crowd. So he was talking as he was walking down the stairs, always talk, like he even throws an aspect in there. It's like how these guys were my puppets, and it was always about me and everything like that. Like there was even a piece of them when they were doing the entrance that wanted to just push them down the stairs and watch them fall. It was a very good promo in that sense of everything. I liked where they went with Seth Rollins here, and I liked where they went with Dean Ambrose, because they went back to the old, handy cam. Like he would just pick up a camera, hold it, and speak into it throughout the entire promo, and they redid that here, and it added to that dichotomy of the whole thing with the Shield and how they used to do things, and and it just gave you a little bit of a remembrance of that, and added more importance to this title match later on in the show. I thought they did a really good job with these two promos in general here. So, with that being said, the extra matches throughout the night, because I've already talked about a bunch of the backstage segments with Daniel Bryan, Stephanie McMahon, Shane, and McFoley, and the GMs and everything like that. Like they even had a really good promo with Daniel Bryan and Mick Foley saying it's like we're gonna be competitive, but we're like still gonna be like fair and everything like that. But it's like the whole aspect of the tension between the two of them is like we always got to work for what we get, and if someone's standing in their way, we always find a way to get them out of our way. It's like Foley's like, now you're in my way. And Daniel Bryan's like, now you're in my way. And you have this stare down between the two of them. It was a nice little spot that they did there. You had a couple other matches to go along with it. You had Baron Corbin versus Sin Cara. It was announced during this time that the Lucha Dragons were going to split up. Baron Corbin goes over easy here, and Kalisto does come out and help his former tag partner one last time, but gets beaten down by Baron Corbin to go along with it. I think they just did this to build Baron Corbin a bit in that sense. You had Charlotte and Dana Brooke go up against Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks. The match never really got going because Natty came out there and attacked Becky Lynch. And why do they have this aspect of Sasha's got to find a mystery tag team partner, yet she's assigned a tag team partner here? Obviously, Becky Lynch is not going to be the tag team partner because she is working with Natty. She's having a match with Natalya on the pay-per-view, and that's what happened here. Natalya comes out, attacks Becky Lynch, and leaves her lane, and then Charlotte and Dana leave Sasha lane to end off the segment there. You also had another tag match. Yeah, there was a lot of tag matches tonight, now that I really think about it. Matter of fact, let's look at this. There's only 2 matches that were one-on-ones. Wow. And they were both relatively short, but the last one was Rusev and Sheamus going up against Ziggler and Ryder. They had Rusev and Sheamus go over here, making Rusev look strong because Zack Ryder had been kind of getting one over on him as of late. Well, not last week, but maybe, I forget on SmackDown whether or not, but they made Rusev look strong here. They had Ziggler tap out to the Accolade and in this match. Decent tag team match, but again, like I said, a lot of tag team matches going on here throughout the entire show. But again, not a bad tag team match. They wanted to make Rusev look strong going into his pay-per-view match, especially since Ziggler and Sheamus don't have anything going on with the pay-per-view. You have mostly the thing with Zack Ryder and Rusev to go along with that. This leads into the main event of the night, which is Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose. And this was a long and really, really good match. I thoroughly enjoyed this match. I did not enjoy the finish of this match, though. The finish of this match was basically the double pin. And it's like, okay, the double pin. I like that aspect of it. It's a draw. It's everything like that. You can lead this into the pay-per-view. You also had like tons of really good spots in there with Dean Ambrose almost getting a pinfall victory with using the Dirty Deeds, almost getting, and Seth almost winning with the pedigree. You had that high tension, big fight feel going about this particular match, and it was coming off really well. And like I said, the double pin finish I thought was a alright way of going. You have them kind of draw before going into the pay-per-view match. That's not necessarily a bad thing. But then Stephanie McMahon's like, I'm just going to name Seth Rollins the winner, and that's how they go off the air. Awards in the WWE title. Now, it was done later on the network saying the ref was like, no, this is a draw, this is this, and Dean keeps the title. But it's like, you left everybody hanging on that one. It's like, wait a minute, what's going on? Are they going to do something for SmackDown? No, they did it on the network, and they don't even really plug it on the network. It's like, oh, go to the network and find out what's going to happen next. No, they didn't even do that. If you didn't bother going to the network right after Raw, then you didn't necessarily know that until a little bit later on, in that sense. So you're just like, wait a minute, what's going on? It looked like it was a double pin, but she's just naming... Huh? Yeah, it was not a very good finish to Raw. That's just how I feel. It was not a good way to end Raw. The double pin was alright, but just having Steph award the title initially to Seth Rollins and then them kind of explain everything on the network, it didn't really work for me in that sense. So, with that being said, this Raw was alright. Found it in some ways, I wouldn't say boring. Like, match-wise, it really didn't do anything for me. The Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose match was really, really good. The 12-man match was pretty good to go along with it. The other matches, like, we've either seen it before, or it really didn't do much for me. in that sense. The promos I thought were pretty good, especially with Daniel Bryan, Mick Foley, Stephanie, and Shane. Those were good, and they were throughout the entire night. The Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose promos in Old Shield style I thought were really good as well. But yeah, I mean, overall, you can't really say that this was a great show by any stretch of the imagination. It was kind of maybe a 40% good, 60% bad, or a 50-50 at best. It was not that great of a show. We'll just leave it at that one. Sorry. My voice is still not great from my Evo trip, so I have not fully gotten it back yet. That's why I've been drinking water throughout the entire review. But with that being said, that is my review for Monday Night Raw this week. I thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a great day.